Welcome back to Justice League Dark, right here at Comicstorian, where we take some of your favorite comic books, video games, and movies and break down the plots into a synopsis, allowing you to understand what happened and catch up on your favorite pop culture element. Today we're going to be continuing Justice League Dark, and when we last left off, Swamp Thing had been destroyed, Wonder Woman was learning about true magical power, and Constantine was trying to manipulate various things. Today, we're going to pick up with that story when it left off with a bit of a side story, talking about some infected beings that are infected by a mushroom spore virus. Yes, it sounds like Last of Us. No, it's not Last of Us. It's Justice League Dark. Let's get into it. In the offices of Waters and Williamson in Los Angeles, studio executive Martin Sellis comes in today a changed man. He strolls through the lobby with something growing on his head. An office worker sees the fungus and says that it's really cool makeup, but Martin turns and releases a gas in his face. As Martin leaves the elevator, the worker slumps to the ground, withering in pain as he too now has mushrooms sprouting from his head. As Martin makes his way to the roof, he feels compelled to tell the world something only he could say. He stands atop there, catching the attention of the passing by Animal Man Buddy Baker. As everyone gathers to watch what Martin is going to do, his head explodes, releasing the spores from the growth into the air. And a short while later, while Wonder Woman and Bobo attempt to contain the spread, Buddy tells them that this is a cordyceps infection. Bobo says, "A what?" And Buddy explains that it's a fungus that has taken over their minds and is now using their bodies to propagate itself. It's never infected humans before, never anything at this rate as well. Wonder Woman holds back some of the infected, stating that it seems like they're all marching towards something. What could it be? Buddy tells her, probably something tall. And once they're high up, the growths will explode and further spread the infection. Bobo yells that the infected just want to go somewhere high, then they're wasting their time on the ground. And there's only one building that they could be heading to. The three rush over to the tallest building, and they begin to barricade the doors as Buddy says that he felt a change in the red when this all started. The lines are being crossed. The balance is shifting. It's the Parliaments. They're at war. We have to find the other Guardians. The Guardians of the green, the red, the blue, and the black. Bobo says that they have the Floronic Man as a prisoner at the Hall of Justice, so that only leaves one other that will work with them. But as Buddy reaches to the back of his neck, he feels some of those spores beginning to grow. Meanwhile, over at the Hall of Justice, Zatanna and Kent begin to try and track down the source of the infection as Khaled confers with Nabu for insight. Nabu tells him that they are the cause of all of this. All of them, and their naive need for chaos. Khaled calmly tells him that chaos is just as much a part of the world as order. Magic is healing itself. There are bound to be a few hiccups. They have been through this before. Help them understand what is going on. Help them bring order to the chaos. After a short moment of pulling the helmet on, Khaled returns to the others and says that it's the Parliaments. They're all fighting each other for dominance. Nabu says that there's only one way to bring back the balance. And it begins with the dawn of humanity and the Lords of Order. The Lords set forth an ancient rite that will convene with the forces that have infused the natural world with power. The green, the red, the gray, the divided, and the rot. The ritual must be conducted once again. They must convene the Parliaments of life. Back in the shadows, a lighter is struck and John Constantine lights his cigarette asking, "And what's the catch?" "There's always a catch, Squire. Some terrible price. Some dreaded cost. Always tattooed on the devil's, well, you know." Khaled says that he must leave to prepare for the ritual, and once they have gathered the Guardians, they will call upon them. John laughs, stating that all they have to do is convince their enemy, an unwilling prisoner, to cooperate. Sounds easy enough, mates. Later, down in the vaults of the Hall of Justice, Woodrow sits in his magic prison, stating that he's beginning to feel that he's going to get visitors today. John asks if he's finding the new accommodations all right, getting enough compost. "They've been watering it down here, Woodrow?" Woodrow lashes out, but the magical barrier stops him, and John tells him to relax. Zatanna asks if he knows anything about what's happening, and Woodrow tells her that it's all their doing. They unleashed the forces beyond all knowing, and the Parliaments trust no one anymore. Their balance is broken, and they each fight for their own survival and strength, and now they want something from him. Well, set him free, and he will help. Woodrow lashes out, but the magical barrier stops him, and John tells him to relax. Zatanna asks if he knows anything about what's happening, and Woodrow tells her that it's all their doing? You watched the Parliament of Trees burn. Then you changed the rules by which magic works with all of your meddling. You've unleashed forces beyond all knowing, and the Parliaments trust no one anymore. The balance is broken. You each fight for your own survival and strength, and now you want something from me. Well, set me free and I will help. Zatanna scoffs, telling him that they won't be freeing him, and John says that they don't have time to play by the rules here. They're going to have to compromise. Zatanna stops him. No, that's how he does things. Compromises, deals, bargains. It's why we're here in the first place. It's why my father is... John quietly stares, and Zatanna says that Diana bought them some time to set things right. She isn't going to waste that by creating more problems. They'll find the other Guardians, and then they'll deal with Woodrow. And for the record, she is the one calling the shots, so no deals. We're going to go find Abigail. John laughs as he flicks his cigarette onto the floor, and he leaves. But as the doors to the vault shut, the smoke from the cigarette begins to grow, and John steps out through it. He smiles, telling Woodrow that Z can get a little emotional, but we can be adults about this, right, Woodrow? So how about we strike a deal? You do exactly what you're told to do and when you're told to do it, and you'll be able to walk out of here at the end of all of this. Woodrow asks how he would be able to do that without the others knowing, and John says, "Oh, I'll manage. Don't you worry about that." But as John leaves, a small fly buzzes in, landing on Woodrow's finger. It begins to melt away, stating, "Woodrow," before finally dripping to the ground. The black goop begins to grow, and a deep, dark voice comes out of it, stating, "Constantine will betray you." Woodrow scoots back, yelling, "I didn't tell him anything!" And the voice says, "Good, and our arrangement still holds true. It may be difficult to be trapped here, but soon you will be free, and you will get your revenge." Soon after, John and Zatanna head to Luton Reformatory with a lead to find Abigail. But as they get to the entrance, they see a large growth of rot covering it. John pulls out a small key, stating that this is how they're going to find Abigail Arcane, within the rot. John wraps the long chain of the key around both his and Zatanna's neck, and Zatanna begins to state that what she said earlier, it isn't right. John laughs, stating that he can be a real piece of work sometimes, but with Houdini's key, they'll be able to get the answers that they're looking for. John then takes out the small key, putting it into the lock of the building, but instead of opening up the reformatory's lobby, it opens up the much darker room with death and decay. John tells her, "Voila! Welcome to the heart of the rot, Z." Back in LA, Buddy holds back a horde of infected, and Bobo yells that this isn't working. Being defensive about this isn't going to win them anything. Buddy tells them, well, they can't very well attack. They are people that are infected with a mushroom virus. But there is something that we could try. We're going to need some time to get started, though. Wonder Woman tightens the braces on her shield, telling him that whatever his plan is, they only have one shot at it. Make it count. While Wonder Woman gets to work, Buddy sends out a call, jumping into the mind and body of a creature that lies within himself. Swimming inside of his gut, among the vial of his intestine, to the lowly helminth, the microscopic flatworm. Meanwhile, over at the heart of the rot, John and Z look around for any clues when they notice a vine growing in the midst of the rot. John says that this is the ayahuasca vine, and Z asks if it's the stuff that the Yorina shamans use for divining and projecting things. John takes a bit of the vine goo and tastes it. Then he jumps to his feet, yelling, "It works! I know how to find Abigail." Z says that she isn't going to like this, is she? And John begins ripping up the vines, chowing down on them, stating, "Things are about to get real weird, Z. Just do me a favor and keep them from getting to me, yeah?" A fleshy rot creature begins to spew forth, coming at them, and John crawls up into a small hole, stating, "I'll be right back." And Zatanna says that she isn't holding her breath. While she begins to battle, John pulls himself into a different realm, falling flat onto his back. He gets up, peering over into the nearby swamp, and sees the white-haired Abigail walking in, and Swamp Thing emerging. The two embrace, but Abigail, from the rot, hoped that things wouldn't be like everything else. But it was. With his simple touch, Swamp Thing's body begins to decompose and pieces fell off. All that was left was his bones, and those bones would pull her into the depths below. She felt as though she was drowning, and then, with an outstretched hand, John reaches for her. But while John is rescuing Abigail, Z strikes down another creature when she notices something behind her. From the black muck, a body rises, and a voice calls out, "You are the child of Giovanni Zatara. I can see why he pinned all of his hopes on you, even as he burns eternally in the other place. The darkness soon takes the form of a man, and the man tells her the black grows tired of your inadequacies. It whispers once more my name, Anton Arcane. In the Serengeti, though, Khaled descends into a volcano where he meets with those who govern the order, the avatars of stone, flame, waves, and vapor. The Avatar of Stone says that they remember him. He was at the beginning before he called himself Doctor, Pharaoh, or Lord. Khaled says that there was a responsibility handed to them at the dawn of humanity, one that they must keep now. Reconvene the parliaments of life, return them to a place of balance. The Avatar of Waves asks, why must they? Why must they inflict their order upon the natural chaos of this world? The Avatar of Stone says that the world has been in decay long before the Parliament went to war. He witnessed firsthand the fall of order and magic. Humankind seems intent on its own destruction. Perhaps this is the natural state, life itself fighting back against an imposed order. Khaled tells them that it must be easy to say such things when people struggle to maintain the balance that should have been the Avatar's responsibility. All the systems have a natural order, without which they must necessarily fall to violent consequences. The parliaments themselves realize this, and even they are at war. Even as they speak, the Guardian of the Red sees aid from the Divided, a parliament of unseen life that populates this world. And over inside Buddy's body, Buddy calls out through the flatworm that he knows that they are there, and he has come to ask for help. As Buddy waits, the cells begin to swirl around and a large creature with no eyes forms, stating, "Baker, speak. The Divided listen." Buddy tells them that the Gray attacked the Red. They know this to be true. The Divided has to help them. The Divided says, "Always death, always consequence, always the Divided survive." Buddy goes on stating, "Yeah, but the humans won't. The Divided will lose a whole species that they've colonized. Soon after, the animals will disappear. And if all the living life is gone, the Divided won't have a home." After a few moments of silence, a signal goes out. The spores growing in the infected's heads soon begin to fall off, and Bobo asks, "What's going on?" Buddy groans as he stands back up, stating that it worked. He reached out to the Divided, convinced the bacteria in their bodies to fight off the fungal infection. Bobo asks, "There's a parliament of bacteria? As in germs?" Back in the Serengeti, Khaled projects an image of Buddy's triumph, asking the avatars, "See? Parliaments aiding parliaments to even out the size of the conflict. Life seeks balance, correction, order!" The avatars all state that they only see desperate attempts to cling to order for a few moments longer. All balances engineered this way are destined to decay. Meanwhile, in the heart of the rot, Zatanna is bound by Anton as he tells her that she cannot harm him. Not here, not in this place. He is a part of the seething putrid fabric here. Here, he is God, and he will not be compromised again within his own walls. As Anton slams Zatanna down, the rot slowly seeps into her mouth to silence her, but Anton notices something. He quickly turns his back, blocking the hole where John climbed into, yelling, "She must not be allowed to wake!" Before Zatanna passes out, she manages to cast a spell. "Write my name in the sky." Just outside of the reformatory, John pulls Abigail out of the lake and she coughs, asking, "Who is he? Does she know him?" John straightens his hair, telling her, "Not yet, you don't. But you will in a few years, and I'd rather not spoil the surprise." Abigail pauses for a moment and says, "You're friends with Alec Holland, aren't you?" He pulls out a wet cigarette, sighing. "I'm not sure that's how Alec would see it, but we don't have a lot of time. The world around us is falling apart, and you've been trapped in your own dreams. I came here to find you, and I'm going to take a guess that whoever put you here doesn't want you waking up." Abigail then asks, "Where is Alec? Why didn't Swamp Thing come to get her?" John tells her, "Alec, he would have torn the worlds apart to find you if he were still here. Your name is the last thing he spoke." Abigail begins to cry, and John yells that they don't have a lot of time. The rot is not her enemy. She can't run from death and loss. If she wants to wake up, she's going to have to embrace it. Moments later, in the real world, a blast is fired at Anton, and John crawls back, stating that he really hates the smell of singed rot. Anton says that he felled the child of Giovanni. Must he contend with the parlor trickster now? John laughs, stating that everyone is a bloody critic. But don't fret, I've brought a friend. Abigail steps out, yelling that she thought she was rid of him, and Anton stares at Abigail, stating that she is his greatest creation and his greatest betrayer. She turned on him, conspired with the Green, with Alec Holland. He is taking back what was once his. She will never be rid of him. He is the rot that infects her memories. And back over in the Serengeti, the Avatars tell Khaled that they are done speaking with him. There is no need for them to be involved. Khaled takes off the helmet, telling them to wait. You need humans! The Avatar Stone asks how so, and Khaled tells him that he is a man standing before them, not a god, not a lord, not a sorcerer. He must remind him that he is just a man. They have power over the natural magic of this world, but humans, they have stories. Without them, magic wouldn't exist. You were primal forces once, but once you were told stories, you were made in our image. Without us, the Avatars would undoubtedly not exist. You would have no reason, no purpose. You are powerful, but you hold power over nothing. Are the stories of humans not worth saving? The Avatars stop to listen to his words, but then the Avatar of Stone says that perhaps there is some truth in what he says. And back in the heart of the rot, the forces of darkness gather to bring Abigail down. However, there is someone making their way into the fray, and that someone is Wonder Woman. Anton quickly begins to absorb all of his creatures into himself, and Abigail lunges into attack. Wonder Woman calls out asking if she can fight Anton's control over the rot, and Abigail tells her that she can try, but she'll only be able to see him for a moment. Wonder Woman grabs her sword, stating that a moment is all she needs to end this. Abigail braces herself with Anton, and Wonder Woman rushes forward, cutting through the giant fleshy body, ripping Anton out of its center. Wonder Woman tells him that she knows that she cannot kill him here, but at the very least, this is going to hurt. Anton hisses that she doesn't know what he is capable of. And what is to come, well, she knows even less. And within Wonder Woman's grasp, Anton's body begins to fester as bugs begin to flee from him and his body begins to fade away. As the swarm flies off, Abigail yells that she can follow, but John tells her to wait. They have to let him go for now. They have to help Z. Later, with Anton gone, Abigail saved and Wonder Woman being the hero, we move back to the medical bay of the Justice League Dark headquarters. Abigail states that Z's been purged of the rot, but she needs to rest. John tells her not to worry. Z is tougher than she looks. She'll be back up in no time. He's going to need something from her, though. Between the two of them, there's something bigger at play, and he's going to need her to trust him. Shortly after, Kent tells everyone that they have opened the portal and everything is ready, and they're going to need to take their prisoner. John laughs, lighting his cigarette, stating, "Don't fret." He'll make sure Woodrow's been well taken care of, and as he heads into the vault, Woodrow scrambles to get up, explaining himself. But John tells him to shut up and listen. He knows it was him, the vine in the rot, the one that put Abigail into her dreams. It came from him. But they found her. Z is hurt, and Wonder Woman is very angry. No telling what she'll do if she found out that he was the one who did it. Woodrow looks away, asking, "What do you want?" John takes a drag of his cigarette, stating that at the ritual, he is going to be a good little petal and do exactly as he's told. A short while later, the Guardians are brought into the mountains, and Khaled tells them that they will begin the rite. It began when the Parliament of Trees was first burned. Old alliances were broken, lines were crossed. But this covenant, this is the oldest of them all. They are bound by it to keep the balance of life, death, and magic in this world. For this, all the Guardians must give up their powers willingly. Do they accept? John pushes Woodrow forward, telling him that he's up, and Woodrow pushes back, yelling, "No!" John releases the magic, binding Woodrow, whispering, "This is the deal. You do this and you can walk away. Now go on, break a leg." Khaled begins the process and saps the power out of Woodrow, and within seconds, he falls to the ground a normal human. Next, Buddy steps up, transferring his power over the red, and then finally, Abigail transfers her power over the rot. John nods to her, and Abigail walks up, stating that she's sorry, but this is for Alec. Abigail's rot spreads into the Parliament of Flowers, and they begin to cry out in pain. And then finally is Abigail of the rot. John nods, and Abigail walks up, pretending she's going to give up her powers, but she states out loud that she is sorry. But this is for Alec. Her rot spreads into the Parliament of Flowers, and they begin to cry out in pain. Woodrow screams for them to stop what they're doing, but as the green turns into a black puddle of goop, Wonder Woman grabs Abigail, asking what has she done, and John reaches in. The Parliament all lash out, but as Wonder Woman looks back, she sees John reaching for something. He pulls out a small seed, stating that he is sorry, but he swears he couldn't have thought of another way. As the volcano erupts, John runs outside with his key to escape, but inside of the mountain, Buddy grabs Abigail, asking, "Why did you do this?" She tells him that it was John. He has a plan. And over in the Louisiana swamps, John stumbles, yelling, "We don't have much time." Anton steps out stating that he's done something. The Parliament, something changed, something is in an uproar. Why are you here, Constantine? John tells him the same reason as him. Stories go in circles, don't they? We're just going back to where it all began, to catch up with an old friend. Anton says that he didn't think of them as friends, and John looks over telling him, actually, I was talking to someone else. Through the weeds, Swamp Thing stands up. I remember this place. Anton yells, this can't be! How is Swamp Thing back? What did you do, Constantine? And John says that it was only a seed. Abby attacked the Parliament of Flowers and caused them to decay, and from the rotting debris, there was a seed. He came here planting that little bit of hope into the ground, and well, this happened. Swamp Thing smiles. The trees, they're growing in the green again. John glares back at Anton, saying that he knows that there's no way that he would have wormed his way out here without a little help from the Upside Down Man. And Anton snares, telling him, the Upside Down Man is coming back. You are nothing but playthings to him. Swamp Thing then stares at Anton. I remember you, and you have meddled enough. As the vines wrap around Anton, Anton shouts that it is impossible to stop him. But Swamp Thing says that the rot stands with him no more. He is returned, and with him the balance restored. The parliaments have struck a bargain for peace. As the vines continue to wrap and form around Anton, Swamp Thing looks at his hand, stating that he has Alec Holland's memories, but he knows of Sorrel and so many more. He feels like an old thing, an ancient. But John laughs, telling him, no, old friend. You're going to be something entirely new. But unfortunately, I've most likely lost my consulting privileges at the Hall of Justice. So this is where we part ways. Swamp Thing returns to the Hall of Justice, reuniting with Abigail, and as they do, Zatanna continues to slumber. But in her dreams, something changes, and she begins to fall. She feels as if she is drowning in an ocean of darkness, and glimmering right before her, she can see teeth. The Upside Down Man says that the trouble with drowning in the darkness, you never quite know which way is up. And at that moment, Zatanna gasps for air as she wakens into the world. And there you have it, guys, a side story in which Swamp Thing has come back from the dead, and we've gotten to go a little bit more into the rot and the principle, like the stuff, the green, the rot, and all the different stuff that involves Swamp Thing. Hope you guys enjoyed all of it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and I'll see you next time right here.